No, that's a great question. And I know that I've someone else has asked other things. I'm going to scroll back up because we're still on this particular thread. But can I just say how much I'm enjoying this? This is so fun. The energy of it's so light too. What I was thinking about, thinking through like the wounds of comparison, is how often when we're looking at other people who are successful or doing what we might want to do or achieving, there was a time when I was feeling really unclear and lacking vision, like I said, even about this, about Horizon and everything that I was doing. And I would see other people with such clarity of like purpose, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like my energy would be like exactly like I've been looking at them like spirit exactly like I'm trying to get to. It wasn't that I was jealous, but I had the energy of comparison of that. It's not that I wanted what the person had. I was comparing that I want a clarity of my own purpose that I feel I'm lacking, that I'm seeing others have, and then you get kind of dejected or discouraged. And the thing that I was thinking about that is you can do that and you can compare yourself, even at the level of I lack vision, this person has it, without understanding or having the like for like of the conditions. You know what I mean? So a lot of the time I'm comparing myself to people. I was an orphan. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't have the support and a whole lot of other things, right? That other people have. Do you know what I mean? To be able to say like for like is not. And vice versa. Other people can compare themselves to me and be like, Leona has 10 things in her life that I did not have. Do you know what I mean? So I can't look at her and be like, why am I not like this? Because she has this, like she has this XYZ thing. So when you are in this state of like this energy of I'm not keeping up to the social standards, I don't have the things, especially the material things or the status as others, your ancestors are saying you need to consider what was the foundation you were building from. What was your starting point? But then you look at that, you will see you have already surpassed your ancestors, and therefore they're deeply proud of you. They're deeply proud of you, and they're deeply proud of what you have chosen and what you have created and the level and the status that you're at. And you may, even if it's not a question of like surpass them. Let's say, for example, I know some people are like really longing for a family, a relationship, and you might be like, well, actually, my ancestors were like married at like 19 and had like 10 kids. I have not surpassed them. And so the other framework is like, even if it's not a literal like outpacing them in certain things, it is what has become possible for you that was not possible for them. For example, I don't wake up longing for family and children. Like I have no desire for that. Sorry to laugh about it. I just don't. And I love that chapter for me right now. I'm not saying that will never change, but right now I don't feel like that. And also, what I feel like is that motherhood is a burden for multiple generations of women in my family. And so for me to be child free and gallivanting the streets of the world is something that my ancestors, particularly the women in my lineage, take absolute joy in. They love it. They love it for me. They absolutely love it. And the season when I was with that soulmate actually was when I was aching, and it was really about the energetic interplay between us. I was aching for a child during that time. And my ancestor kept saying to me, like, no, I can hear you. Like, we're listening to you, but also, nah, we don't think you want this. Like, you want him? I don't think you want this child life. I don't think you want this motherhood under these conditions. You just want this man. Like, okay. Um, Back to I'm looking at the chat and the comment is I have this in work environments too. I think this is helping me with forming my root question. I love that. And that was in relation to going into certain spaces and just catching the projection of a certain kind of energy. Okay, so I think that kind of answers the question, which is to begin, like to consider, to recap, consider where you started from, consider what the starting structure was, and also recognize that you are standing on your ancestors' shoulders and they're very proud of you already. And those are the baseline, those are the metrics that you need to use in terms of. And then let me see if there's anything else around when you have to relate or engage in certain social standards. I know you said you're traveling as well. Let's bring that part because I can relate to that. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much, Spirit. can't keep saying how much I'm annoying myself. The Sun card here, the Magician card, and the Empress card, which this combination is saying that you need to think about where you're at and travel, especially, being away from the place that you grew up in and those social standards as a means for meeting your desires. That's what's most important, that you are living in a way in response to your desires. So like my primary desires are, I want to be in a hot country and I want to be near the sea as much as possible. And I want a stable, beautiful home. This apartment that I've been in for the last 2 weeks, I love it so much. It has a subwoofer. Listen, because I travel around and I move around a lot, there are things I have to do without. I have excellent earbuds, like the music quality is amazing. So music is really important to me. I'm not going without altogether, but it's been years since I've been able to blast a heavy bass line in my living room. Do you know what I mean? Like this has given me something this past couple of weeks. Just like putting the subwoofer on. Oh, I have been vibing in the house. And this lifestyle, this ability to have also is really important for me to have space and for the kind of work that I do to not have other people's energy throwing me off left, right, and center. So living alone as well is really important to me and important for me in my role as priestess. That I could not have this life at all in the UK, would not be possible. And it wouldn't be possible for me to devote and commit myself to it fully in the way that I currently do. So, again, remember that the choices that you're making are related to feeding and responding to your desires. And each of you will have different desires. Those are mine, right? But you may have other things. And so, for example, your core desires may mean that you actually do stay in your place of birth because you're like, actually, it gives me some of these things that for me are non negotiables. These are really crucial. Okay, beautiful. Oh, I love that. The chat says a lovely, affirming, and unexpected answer. Amazing. I want guidance about roots and money. As I'm starting a new business venture, but what's the advice for building roots in the money area and create abundance in my everyday life and my business? I am very excited, but also fearful to be limited. Okay, root and money. Okay, so we have two messages here. Firstly, King of Wands and the Two of Cups. King of Wands has come up as creative responsibility, creative duty, even creative vision or the work that you're doing, just taking, again, like responsibility for it. And then the Two of Cups is talking about the relational exchange here. The message really being that we need to, when it comes to root and money, we need to be thinking about exchange and relationship. 1 second. Yeah. What they're saying is that typically the feeling in the body, and it's not so they're not gaslighting you, they're saying, I understand why you feel this way, but not you, but collectively. The feeling in the body can be there's not enough, like there's not enough money out there, there's not enough money to go around, you can't access it. And yeah, I like that. And what they're saying is that when we feel like that, it's like we're saying that we respond like money is in the atmosphere. Like the coins are just like floated in the air and they're like, but they're floating in the air somewhere far away from us. Like we can't our concept of money is that we can't draw it out of thin air. And that is how we are imagining it, particularly if you're an entrepreneur or a creative or someone who's self-employed. They're saying that our mental framework is that we imagine that we do things and then money, it just draws money out of the atmosphere. And they're like, well, that's not accurate. And we need to actually think about money as being stored or as a resource that is stored with people, right? Like people are either holding the money in their bank account, in their purse, whatever, but also people are movers of money. They are conduits of money. So when you are thinking at all about money and root and you're thinking about getting more money, you think about people. You need to think about your relationship to people, and you need to think about how your creative plan or project or responsibility relates and connects you to others. Now, the other part of this is being very clear, judgment card, on who your audience is or who your target group is, your customers, your client base, etc. Who is this for? Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the newsletter that I sent this weekend. Let's talk about that. Because you need to, that's how you get to them, basically. That's how you make the connections, is by knowing who your community are. Now, the reason I started laughing is that yesterday, I just had this overwhelming fire in my body. I was actually minding my business. I was working, I had other things to do, and I was sat here actually. Lights were down, I had pink light in the room and the music playing, and there was a vibe, and I just felt this fire. And this fire is like, you need to send a newsletter and you need to say certain things, like, and it needs to be like a cutting away and a clearing energy. There needs to be like a line drawn in the sand, like a fiery line, and I could feel it in my body, and it was so visceral. And me, like the owner, I didn't want to say any of that. I would have said nothing at all and just continued putting all my efforts in the direction I thought was best for me. But I could feel this overwhelming energy of, for me to receive what I need to receive. Well, there's two things. For me to receive what I need to receive, I need to clear out the energy of people who are occupying space but not in relationship to me. I tend to get a lot of voyeuristic energy, to be honest. I get, whether that is spiritual or human, people like to watch me. Like, people like to just see what I'm doing. Like, so they were like, you need to, if there's like a pew, let's say, or even a stadium, a space in which I am the marketplace for me, then they're saying like 70% of my marketplace is made up of people who have no intention to buy from my store. They just want to see if I keep coming on a Sunday. Right? Like, let's say I set up my Sunday store and I sell my vegetables. They're just there to say, like, has she failed yet? Or like, is she still selling her vegetables? What vegetables does she have this week? What quality of them? Like, what does she look like? How many people went to her store? Oh, okay. So it's like keeping tabs on me, but also energetically, you're holding space, because also I'm considering you to be part of my audience, customer, client base, basically, or part of the community I serve. So I'm looking at this stadium full of people and considering, oh, I'm bringing my vegetables every week. Do you know what I mean? I'm not, it's like I understood it in that, because I could see it happening. Like, I got the energy that was going on. I was experiencing it, but I wasn't actually reacting in real time to what it felt like to have a stadium full of people who were just watching the market and not actually there to do any exchange at the marketplace. So I felt this energy in the body that was like, you need to tell all the voyeurs and all the people who are watching, just trying to see if you failed yet, to fuck off, basically. And I messaged Catherine and I was like, I feel this energy to write this like newsletter. Boy, I don't know. Because the Libra, like Mercury in me, just keep it cute. Do you know what I mean? Like, just keep it cute, just keep it sweet. I didn't say anything, but I couldn't not say it. I felt this like fierce energy in my body. And then the other aspect of it was to break the glamour, basically, to break the glamour, which I am partly responsible for. And I've said this, that I do feel that there was an energy of self-protection, because I can feel the voyeurism where I start to cloak then, where I start to get very private, because I know that not every eye on me has the best intentions for me, but it was making me conceal too much. And people are not being connected or understanding the true reality of my experience. And like, people have been on Horizon, I think, to a much greater extent, because I come here and I talk about it. I'm definitely people in AGC, but the broader hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are part of the wider, they didn't see that. They just saw, oh, she's booked a new flight to a new place. Like, so I needed to break the glamour. And to like, so when I said like I had one booking this month, like, it was really important to break the glamour of like, what does that mean for her? Do you know what I mean? Like, what would that mean for the continuation of me to do that work? And what does that mean for me to be a community practitioner and have no community to serve? So I sat and I wrote it, and it was a channel, to be honest. I sat and I channeled it, and after I sent it, I it was like two sides of me. The side of me that is like set next kid is like, yes, do you know what I mean? We are fiery babes and we speak truth to power. And then this other side of me, maybe half of this kid is like, oh no, do you know what I mean? Did you say a mean thing? Did you say a mean thing and people aren't gonna like you? And also, like, did you say a mean thing and the risk that people who do really love and care for you are turned off by that, because they're like, oh, like, why is she cussing us out? Like, so, but I had to go with what my spirit was indicating needed to happen. And I can feel like the energy the next day has been so different. Like the energy has totally shifted. And I think for me to come here today and to start brand new like this, with Saturn right into my 10th house and to shift horizon in this way, I also needed to do that. There were things that I just needed to set boundaries around and say no to in order to open this up. Chat says that part of the news that was powerful. I wonder how many unsubscribes. And you know what? I said to myself, Leona doesn't even like it's going to happen, and that is fine. That is the right reaction. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't want to have a false gauge of what my community looks like. So that's a little bit of backstory of this question of when you're thinking about root and you're thinking about money, you're thinking about relationships. That is a Venusian principle. And when you're thinking about relationships, you're understanding that people are both the holders of money and the movers of money. And you need to know who's your community, firstly. Who is your client base? Who are you interested in connecting with so that you can then make your inroads? One more thing. They're also saying that this is, they're saying that this concept of relationship is important for people who don't have money. Yeah, they're saying this doesn't really apply to the same extent at all if you were born into it. The It's showing me like root system actually. Yeah, they're saying the root system for money for people born into money is nothing to do with what we're talking about right here. So this concept is for people who have been built, who have lived or been born or have been working outside of like the core economy, basically. That you are trying to establish yourself or trying to increase your wealth, then this concept of relationship is actually about, they're showing me like a plug, like how we plug in something to a socket. This is about forming the connection to finance, forming the connection to money. Once you form that connection, then there's a whole another root system. I love that. There's another root system that is about how that money flows and what that money does and like what you do with it. But they're like, first and foremost, when you're coming from a place of I don't have enough, you are needing to connect to the source, connect to the flow of finance and abundance and money. And they're saying how you do that is this process of relationship. Well, is there anything else you want to say, Spirit, on this root money issue and relationships and locating who your customers are, client-based audience, community? Interesting. 1 second. We're talking about experimentation actually with the Hermit card, and they're talking about this is like closing things down, closing projects down. They're saying that particularly again, this is another this is advice for creative entrepreneurs, etc. When you're doing something and you're trying something, that you have to be willing to accept it's not working, or you need to do something differently. And they're saying that you need to feel. You see that this kind of crone energy here, where something's drying up. Again, I'm a perfect example of that. How long? I will say to you that easily I've been feeling this energy of drying up for 18 months. And yesterday was the first time I said anything about it. 18 months minimum, I've been feeling it. So they're saying when you feel the dryness of an energy on something you're creating, and you start to feel this is not flowing, the abundance is not really here, you need to be prepared to close that creation down. You need to be prepared to say no to it. Again, I've talked about this, even if it's something that was bringing you abundance or money before, or you'll be in the same position I was, 4 of Cups, where you'll be offering things to a people community, offering services, offering, even trying to get promotions of the King of Swords, and nobody will be taking you up. This is what it felt like for me. Like, hey, hello. and and everyone just like whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like they're like, this is where it will get to if you don't start to sense early where the abundance and the flow of energy is not. So notice it. Don't do what I did. Don't sit on it for a long time until basically the tree of abundance is bare. And I'll do one last round of report for relationships and money. And the root. Valuing yourself is what they're saying. Yeah. You also have to come. Yeah. Yeah. This is really hard, I find too, as well. I feel like you're getting better at this. I love that. you have to come to the marketplace. We're going to call this Three of Cups, right? I'm talking about relationships. So this is the marketplace where people have resources of some kind, whether it's the flow of money in terms of recommending you and connecting you to people, or spending themselves. You need to come with a certain level of esteem and regard for yourself and what you're doing.
You've just been watching a highlight from a recent Horizon Live Temple and Tarot session, which we gather for at least twice a month via Zoom. And each 90-minute temple experience has a specific theme. A collective energy healing is given, plus, you have the option to be included in the ritual for the week. The recordings are always made available after each temple session, so even if you can't join us live, you still get to participate in the teachings and the experiences and the healing. When you come to temple, you can ask a question related to the theme of the week and receive a tarot reading, spiritual teaching, or counselling. This is a collective education experience where we learn from each other's paths and the guidance given. To join us, go to patreon.com/Leona Nicole Black, and Nicole is spelled with an H, Nichole. That is patreon.com/Leona Nicole Black. We would love to have you.